This is Chatham. I have lived here for most of my life. I was born in Islington, but we moved to Chatham when I was very, very young, so we'll get back to that. But this is about Chatham, so here's an introduction to Chatham. Chatham is one of the many towns in Medway, which is in the southeast of England. One of its biggest claims to fame is being originated place for the word chav and its dockyard, the Chatham Dockyard. The dockyard was a very popular port in England with a very interesting history. One fact I found out, it was raided by the Dutch during the Second Anglo-Dutch War in 1667. One of the Royal Navy's worst defeats. Rudyard Kipling wrote a poem about it. The dockyard itself has also built several ships. One of the surviving ships is the HMS Victory, which is currently in Portsmouth. The dockyard itself closed in 1984 and now is the site for many TV shows and films. It's also a good tourist attraction in the town. The town itself is twined with the French town of Valenciennes. It also shares the name of the Canadian town called Chatham, Kent. While our neighbours in Rochester like to boast about their connection to Charles Dickens, and they really boast about it a lot. If you ever gone down and it's like every street named after Dickens' character. Our town actually has a stronger connection to Charles Dickens. He actually lived in the town for a couple of years. I've actually walked past the house Charles Dickens used to live in. Yeah, we don't acknowledge it. It's just there. We also had an indoor theme park based around Charles Dickens. It's closed down now, but the mannequins still are up. Right now I'm going to shift gears here and talk about how me and my family came to Chatham. But I was a baby, so I don't have the greatest memory of the occasion. So I'm going over to my mum and dad. Where did we live before we lived in Chatham?
We lived in Holloway, North London.
So where did we live before we lived in Chatham?
We lived in Holloway, which is North London.
And for how long was that?
How long did we live there? About 18 years. Oh, how long did we live there? I can't remember now. About 4 years.
Did you live anywhere else before Holloway?
I lived in Shepherd's Bush. I lived with my mother in Shepherd's Bush.
Where did you live before Holloway?
And before Holloway, I lived in various bedsits around London and shared flats. So I lived in Barons Court, which is West London, Earl's Court again, which is West London, Earlsfield, which is South West London, and then eventually on to North London, Islington, and then finally Holloway, before moving out of London to Chatham.
Now, why do we want to move to this place?
Well, because we only had a one-bedroom flat in Holloway, and we had you, and it was rented, and so we decided to move to Chatham because at that time the house prices were very reasonable for a southeast area.
In Islington we were in a one-bedroom flat, and then we had a child, and it became obvious that the one-bedroom flat wasn't big enough. So then decided that to get a bigger house we needed to move out of London.
Now, we did try to move from this place several times.
Yeah, not several times, about 3 times I think.
What were the reasons for?
Well, we just wanted a nicer house. We wanted a house with a flat garden and a garage and an extra toilet.
Well, I wanted to get away from the traffic of the road. We're quite close to the traffic. And yes, move a little bit further out of the centre of Chatham.
And why didn't we end up moving?
Well, On a number of occasions we almost moved. On one occasion the lady who had agreed to buy our house pulled out of the deal because we had taken so long to find a suitable property. And on another occasion I wasn't willing to meet the asking price, and at that time the property market crashed.
As mentioned previously, I have lived in Chatham for as long as I can remember. I have seen several changes. Shops being closed, buildings being built, and buildings being demolished. Now, shops come and go. They either go out of business or they just close. When you're a child, there's one type of shop that when they close, it would break you. That is a toy shop. And in Chatham, several toy shops have closed. One of the first ones was back around 2008 or 9. This accountant building and restaurant used to be a second-hand toy shop called Second Childhood. I remember going there with my mum several times, and we'd get some tank engine toys. I liked it there. It was in that little area of Chatham which kind of connects to Rochester, but it's like very hidden, like it's a different town. I always like that area. The owner of the shop started to sell stuff online, which is kind of the thing to do nowadays. Another shop that was close to me in my early years was Woolworths. Woolworths was a chain of stores that were dotted around the country. They had things like sweets and toys and stuff. Yeah, and then the recession hit and then it closed down. It actually became an online store, but then it closed in 2015. Recently, Toys R Us closed down, and we had one right in the outskirts of town. Closed down because of some dodgy financial stuff. It's confusing. I don't understand the financial world. The last man standing in this toy shop, Tontine, is one called DNA Toys. It just sells second-hand stuff. This second-hand furniture shop outlived the Tesco that used to be here. Yes, the Tesco not being in Chatham anymore was big news back in the day. I once got lost in this Primark when I was little.
Well, you're about 3, and you had the basket with some socks in, and you went off. I turned around and you'd gone, but you went to the till because I thought I'd be queuing up. So it was very clever of you, and the staff found you.
Chatham is defined by many areas. This statue, which usually has a traffic cone on it, the High Street, and the Dockyard. There's some places you often find hidden away, like this little park. Really out of people's focus, it's adjacent to the courthouse, but it's a nice little looking park. It's got a little kids' play area, and it's also near a graveyard. Not creepy at all. This is the Pentagon Shopping Centre. It's the town centre. I've been there several times, once as a work experience there. It used to have a bus station, but it closed down when a new one was put where the old flypass used to be. It's abandoned now. I see people there, but I usually don't go there because I'm a scaredy cat. This restaurant used to be a theatre. The Chatham Royal Theatre was built in 1899, where it served as a theatre. It closed down in 1955, then turned into a shop, but after a campaign in the 80s, it was made to turn back to its original use. It shut down in 2002, and the back end of it turned into a block of flats, and now a Turkish restaurant. Never went there. So that was my life in Chatham. Chatham isn't as glamorous as any other place, but it has a history, a grimy charm to it, and it's a part of me, and I'll always remember it.
Do you think where you've lived in the past has an effect on making who you are today?
Well, I came from a working class area, Shepherd's Bush, and I suppose it affected my attitude to life.
Where I live in Chatham or previously?
Previously.
Obviously, every place where I've lived has impacted on myself and my attitudes to people and places.
Is that it?
Well, you tell me.
Oh, yeah, that's good.